Everyone thinks ancient Greeks were philosophers and warriors. They built a machine that wouldn't be matched for 1,000 years. The accepted history is straightforward. Ancient civilizations were mechanically primitive. They had levers, pulleys, simple tools. Then came the Middle Ages, the Renaissance, and finally the Industrial Revolution. Only then did humanity learn to build complex machines. This narrative has held for centuries. It's taught in schools, it's in textbooks. But in 1901, a Greek sponge diver named Valerios Stais found something that shattered that timeline completely. Off the island of Antikythera in waters between Crete and mainland Greece, Stais was harvesting sponges at roughly 60 meters depth. His team recovered bronze statues, pottery, and corroded metal fragments. Most objects were catalogued and set aside. One bronze lump, roughly the size of a human fist, seemed unremarkable. It was bronze. It was broken. It would sit in a Greek museum warehouse for 2 years, largely ignored, before anyone examined it closely. In 1903, Greek archaeologist Valerios Stais held the fragment under light. What he saw made no sense. The surface wasn't smooth. It was covered in markings, tiny teeth, inscriptions, geometric patterns. He turned it over, more teeth, more script. He cleaned it carefully. Beneath the corrosion lay something that looked like gearing, actual precision gearing. The mechanism appeared to be from the 1st century BCE, possibly earlier. Stais called it a mechanical device. He had no idea what it did. For decades, scholars debated. Some claimed it was an astrolabe, others said a clock. A few theorized it was an astronomical calculator, but the corrosion was severe. The mechanism was fractured into separate pieces. Without better imaging technology, the internal structure remained a mystery. Experts made educated guesses. None of them were right. The device was shelved again, this time in the National Archaeological Museum in Athens, where it would remain largely unstudied for 50 years. The real breakthrough came in the 1970s. British physicist Derek de Solla Price applied X-ray imaging to the Antikythera fragments. What emerged was staggering. The device contained at least 30 interlocking bronze gears. Some were no larger than a fingernail. The precision was extraordinary, teeth cut with accuracy that required metal tools and mathematical knowledge. The inscriptions covered the outer casing, front and back. Price realized he was looking at a machine designed to calculate and display astronomical data. But that understanding raised a far more troubling question. If this machine existed in the 1st century BCE, who built it? No Greek text mentions such a device. No surviving artifact from that era shows comparable mechanical sophistication. The closest analog, the mechanical astrolabe, wasn't invented for another 1,000 years during the Islamic Golden Age. The Antikythera mechanism predated it by 10 centuries. It was an orphan, a technological ghost with no known parentage, no documented maker, no surviving manual explaining its operation. Then came the computations. Price and later researchers, including Yanis Bitsakis and Tony Freeth in the early 2000s, used advanced imaging to decode the inscriptions and gear ratios. The mechanism tracked the movements of the moon and sun with remarkable accuracy. It predicted lunar eclipses. It displayed zodiacal calendars. It incorporated a sophisticated understanding of astronomical cycles that most scholars didn't think the ancient Greeks possessed. The device wasn't just a calculator. It was an orrery, a mechanical model of the cosmos itself. The implications were staggering. Greek science was far more advanced than historians believed. This wasn't a civilization of philosophers content with theory. These were engineers, mathematicians, men who could miniaturize bronze gears to tolerances measured in millimeters, men who understood the heavens well enough to model them mechanically. Yet all evidence of this knowledge, the workshops, the training, the subsequent generations of craftsmen, vanished. It's as if the skill died with its practitioners. The real explanation requires abandoning the assumption that progress is linear. We've been taught that knowledge accumulates steadily across time. That's false. Knowledge can be lost. Civilizations can develop technologies, then lose the ability to replicate them. This happened repeatedly in history. After Rome fell, European societies couldn't match Roman engineering for centuries. The Antikythera mechanism is evidence of that principle applied to ancient Greece. The mechanism likely belonged to someone wealthy, perhaps a scholar, perhaps a patron of science. It may have been created as a gift or as a demonstration of mathematical knowledge. The ship carrying it sank around 70 BCE. The mechanism sank with it. By the time it was recovered, nearly 2,000 years had passed. The knowledge needed to build such a device had evaporated. No one in the Roman world could have replicated it. No one in the medieval world could have understood it. It remained a mystery until modern imaging technology caught up. Today, the Antikythera mechanism sits in the Athens Museum. It's still fractured. Researchers continue to study it. New fragments are occasionally discovered. Each one reveals more gears, more inscriptions, more evidence of a lost mechanical tradition. Museums have built replica models based on the data. They work. They accurately predict eclipses. They demonstrate that the original design was sound, not theoretical, but functional. The mechanism's existence forces a reckoning with how we understand ancient capability. We assume that complexity emerged gradually. We assume that high technology requires industrial infrastructure. The Antikythera mechanism proves otherwise. A single craftsman or a small workshop could achieve extraordinary precision with bronze, hand tools, and mathematical knowledge. That person or those people are nameless. Their tradition is extinct. Their knowledge is reconstructed only from the single surviving example of their work. The deeper question lingers. If the Greeks built this, what else did they build? How many technologies were lost when empires fell, when libraries burned, when knowledge wasn't written down or wasn't preserved? The Antikythera mechanism is the only survivor we've found, but there may have been dozens of such devices, hundreds we'll never know. History is full of absences, of things we'll never see because they were destroyed or lost at sea or simply didn't survive the millennia. The mechanism teaches us something uncomfortable about historical knowledge. We think we understand the past because it's documented, but documentation is selective. It reflects what people chose to record, what survived, what seemed important at the time. A sophisticated mechanical device in the hands of a wealthy individual might not have been documented at all. It might have been seen as a curiosity, a luxury item, a demonstration of wealth, rather than a technological milestone. The ship that carried the Antikythera mechanism was likely a merchant vessel or a transport ship. It was headed somewhere. The mechanism was headed somewhere. We don't know if it was unique or one of many. We don't know if its owner understood how to operate it or if it was simply a prestigious object to possess. The sinking of that ship, a routine maritime disaster in the ancient world, erased whatever context would have explained the device's purpose and origin. Modern researchers continue to extract data from the fragments. Spectroscopy reveals the composition of the bronze. Inscription analysis suggests Corinthian origin or possibly Sicilian. The astronomical calculations embedded in the gear ratios point to specific models of the cosmos that match texts attributed to Hipparchus, a Greek astronomer from the 2nd century BCE. The mechanism may have been built to test or demonstrate Hipparchus's theories, or it may have been something else entirely. The Antikythera mechanism remains unsolved in its full context. We know what it does. We don't know who made it, for whom, or why it was being transported when the ship sank. We know it represents a lost tradition of mechanical engineering. We don't know if that tradition continued elsewhere or if it died with the person who built this device. It's a window into a capability that vanished. A reminder that history isn't just what we know, it's defined by what we've lost. Subscribe to this channel. Every week, we investigate mysteries where the historical record goes silent, cases where evidence vanishes, knowledge is lost, or the past refuses to be fully solved. The Antikythera mechanism is one of thousands of unsolved historical puzzles waiting to be examined. Subscribe, there's a new unsolved historical mystery every week.